emails to different staff members. I remember when I used to work at the university I was telling you about. I would be all over campus working on network issues or phone issues, and oftentimes I would find myself in a place where I needed to call a vendor about had a question, but this phone at my location could not call long distance. It would have been really handy to have a forced authorization code that would have allowed me to make that call by authenticating myself by using a certain number. Now let's zoom in on some of these. Let's talk about partitions and calling search spaces. I said that a partition was analogous to a bucket. It contains dialable destinations. In your notes, there are several things that are dialable destinations, but there are three big ones I want you to know. The three main things that I think of as being assigned to a partition are, number one, in your notes, directory numbers. The number on a phone. When you create a phone, when you add an IP phone, and you say, here's your number, as part of that process, you say, this number, you belong to this partition. I commonly use a partition I just call it the internal partition, and I put internal directory numbers in that internal partition. The second thing that can go into a partition is a route pattern. You might have a route pattern that matches a pattern that will get you to a local number or a long distance or an international number. Something similar to a route pattern, it also has a pattern that we can match. It's called a translation pattern. Sometimes, and there's a kind of an advanced strategy for setting up route plans that we talk about more in CAPT Part 1 and CAPT Part 2. And in those classes, we recommend that you start using more translation patterns and fewer route patterns, but that's a discussion for another day. But I want you to know that both route patterns and translation patterns can be assigned to a partition. So again, the big three things that get assigned to a partition, that get deposited in these buckets, are directory numbers, route patterns, and translation patterns. We then take those buckets and we assign them to calling search spaces. I could have a calling search space that is for, again, assume everybody can call emergency, but I've got an internal calling search space, and it contains the partition